So now that we're already running a few minutes late, we're going to get started, okay? So you need either a blank piece of paper or a canvas. I'm using a 9x12 canvas today. You can use an 8x10, which is like the size of a paper. It doesn't really matter. So mine is a 9x12. It's just a little bit bigger than a piece of paper, okay? So the first thing you're going to need is a pencil, and you want a really, really good eraser. I recommend you don't use the eraser that comes on the back of your pencil. They usually don't work that great. They kind of just make scuff marks everywhere. So if you have another eraser or the erasers that you put on the back, you know, the ones that you buy separate and you put on the back of your pencil, these seem to work pretty good, or just like the big erasers, okay? So you're going to be doing everything in pencil to start, and I'm going to be doing it in marker so you can see all the steps, okay? Hi guys, thank you for watching. Okay. So what we're doing today is we're doing baby Hedwig. So it's Hedwig the owl from Harry Potter, but we're doing a baby version of him. So he looks really, really cute, and we're keeping it nice and simple. Also, while you're drawing, think about what house you want to be in. So I'm wearing my Gryffindor. Where is it? Here it is. I'm wearing my Gryffindor scarf, okay? So I'm going to paint the scarf on my owl like this with these colors. So you can decide what colors you want to use. So let me go over those right now, okay? So if you're doing Gryffindor like me, this is called scarlet or like a burgundy. And if you don't have this color, which most people don't have this color, we're going to make this color right here by using red and brown together so we can get it as close to this as possible. And then for this, we're not just going to use plain yellow because it's going to be too light. So what we're going to do to make this color is we're going to add a teeny tiny bit of orange, if you have it, into our yellow to make this color. And if you don't, that's okay. Just do it as close as possible. So that's for Gryffindor. If you're doing Ravenclaw, you're going to need blue, and it's supposed to be bronze. So you're just going to use like a brown and maybe mix a little bit of yellow into your brown. And again, I'll repeat this all later when it's time to make the scarf. If you're going to do a Slytherin scarf, it's going to be green and silver. If you don't have silver paint, you can just use gray. And then for a Hufflepuff's super easy. It's just yellow and black, okay? And we'll go over all those colors later. So just start thinking about what colors you want your scarf to be according to what house. For Hedwig, we're going to need white because his whole body is white. I know the canvas and the paper is white, but we want to make it shiny and kind of the same texture as the paint. And plus the canvas is going to get dirty from the pencil. You're going to notice it's going to get smudge marks on it. So it would be nice if you have some white paint so he can look nice and fresh and clean. Then you're going to need black because we need to mix white and black to make some gray. We're going to need some gray. And then you're going to need brown for the stick or the branch that he's sitting on. And then the other colors are going to just be what you decide for the scarf, okay? So you only need the certain colors that you're doing your scarf in. And I'll repeat those again later. But for now, we're going to draw him first. So the first thing we need to do is we're going to find the middle of our canvas or our paper, okay? So you can kind of see mine. You want to find the middle, okay? So find the middle with your finger. So the middle of mine would be right here. And then I'm going to move down a little bit, okay? Because this is where I'm going to put my branch. When you're doing your branch, you guys can see where my branch is. You want to make sure that the branch is not in the middle. You want it to be a little bit lower. But you also want to make sure that you don't put your branch too low because we need a lot of room for his tail, okay? So you want the branch a little bit lower than the middle, but not too low because we need to leave room for the tail. So I'm going to put this down for a sec. I'm going to trace the branch so you guys can see better, okay? And then you're going to copy just what I do in marker. Don't go ahead if possible. Try to wait for me to go to the next step. Okay? So again, you can see a little bit better now. So I found the middle of my canvas, which is kind of where his scarf is. And then I went down a little bit, and I made sure that I left enough room to go back and add a tail later. And this is where I'm making my branch. So if you want, you can just make 2 straight lines. but I made my branch curve a little bit so it looks more like a real branch. So start on one side, go all the way to the other side with 2 lines. And you want them to be kind of close together. You don't want to make your branch too thick because it's going to take away room from your owl and the other stuff, okay? So everyone work on your branch. Hi, Charlotte. Okay, so we're going to do that first. And then I'm going to walk you through step by step for everything, I promise. And this isn't just for children too, so you're an adult and you want to do this. There's no shame in that. Plenty of adults love Harry Potter. You can make a Harry Potter owl too. Or any of the paintings I do. So tomorrow we're doing Kirby. He's from like the Nintendo game. So if you know anyone that likes Kirby, I'm doing him tomorrow. And then tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, I'm doing an adult painting. It's really pretty. It's like 3 vases with a flower. And on the vase it says live, laugh, love. So I'm doing 2 of them tomorrow. And then Saturday I'm doing Lego Batman. And Sunday I'm teaching a mermaid painting as Ariel on Sunday. And then next week I'm going to put in some Easter bunny stuff for you guys, okay? Let's see. So we have a question. Do you save the videos on your page? I signed on too late. Yes. So they're not on the page. They're in the group, okay? So if you look under the photo section of this group, all the videos are going to be saved in between the photos. They're all in there, okay? So when I'm done, they'll automatically get saved into the group under the photos section. You could just scroll through. Oh, Gwen from California is here again. Thank you. All right, so that should have given everyone enough time to work on their branch. Now we're going to do the body. So the body is pretty easy. So if you kind of follow my finger, it almost looks like the top of a rainbow. You want to make it nice and big. As you can see, I went pretty high. I only left a little space at the top. So let me trace that so you can see what I'd like you to do. So wait for me, okay? Okay, so if you look close, you can see what I traced in marker. It looks like a really big rainbow, and I went almost to the top, okay? You want to make it nice and big so you have enough room for his eyes, his beak, his scarf, his wings. If you don't go high enough, you won't have room to add all that, and it's going to be all squished in there, okay? So you have all of this room above the branch. Use it, but you can leave a little space at the top if you have it. I just wrote Gryffindor at the top. You can write whatever you want, or you don't even have to write anything. If you want to use that space to make your owl taller, you can do that as well. So just make this really big curve, kind of like the top of a rainbow. And make it big, make it high. Use your space, okay? Okay, so now we're going to move on, and we're going to do the tail, okay? So if you notice, the tail has to kind of continue from the top of the body. See how it continues on the other side? But we're not going to do this part first. What we're going to do first is the tip of the tail. And I'm going to trace it, and then I'm going to explain. So wait, okay? I should have done Slytherin with my blonde hair like this. I feel like a Slytherin instead. Okay, so we're going to find the middle. So you have your owl shape right here, right? So if you kind of can find the middle of your owl shape and go straight down to the bottom. So again, find the middle of your owl, go straight down to the bottom, and we're going to draw a big U shape for the tip of the tail. So we're going to start here first for the tail. So find the middle of your owl, go straight down to the bottom, and make a big U shape. That's going to be the tip of the tail. So do that first. Okay, so now that you have that in place, we're going to go back up here. Remember, we're not going to draw a line through the branch, but we do have to kind of make sure it lines up on the opposite side. So we're going to start here. We're going to make 2 big bumps and connect it to the tail. So let me put this down and trace it first. Okay, so what I did, I kind of lined it up on the opposite side of my branch, and I made 2 big bumps. And you want to kind of make it go right here. So remember, we made this big U shape first. Now we're going to go back up here, make 1 bump and 2 bumps, and kind of line it up right there. Okay? And then you're going to do the same thing on this side. So let me trace that. Okay, so both sides, 1, 2, and they should kind of be touching right there, okay? We're going to go back and add this, so don't worry about that right now. Just worry about making 2 really big bumps that attach to that part of the U, which is the tip of the tail, okay? So now in between those 2 bumps, so we're going to go back. Remember, we made a bump and a bump. So in between those 2 bumps, make a little curve. So it looks like it's continuing. So kind of like that. Same thing on this side. So in between these 2 bumps, make a little curve right here. So now he has a tail. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do, let's see, we're going to do his scarf, okay? So what if you notice, from here up, from the branch up, if you kind of notice, the scarf is in the middle of that section, okay? So you want to find the middle of the body, so from the branch up, find the middle of the body. So my middle would be right here where my scarf is, okay? So find the middle of that part of the body. And then you're going to make 2 straight lines. You don't want to make them too far apart because then you're going to take up too much room from the rest of the owl. You don't want to make them super close either. So I'm going to trace these so you can see. So again, I found the middle of the top of the body right here. And I made 2 lines for my scarf. So do that. Again, you don't want to make them too far apart because then you're going to take away from the rest of his face and this chest area and the wings. Okay. So once you have this part of the scarf, we're going to work on the part that hangs down. So pick a side. So pick a side and you're going to make a long rectangle that comes down. So it's all the way off to one side. Make a long rectangle that's almost touching the branch. See how close I came to the branch? I got pretty close. Okay, so after you do that, you're going to make another one going sideways. So this one's kind of starting here, but this one goes sideways. So you're making like a sideways rectangle shape coming from here. So a straight one and then a sideways one. Don't start making your stripes yet, okay? I want to explain something before you start adding your stripes, okay? Ugh, I'm going to stretch my legs. I'm sitting on like one of those little kiddie tables and chairs. Alright, so now that we have our scarf all drawn out, we are going to add stripes, but you want your stripes, if you look at my finger, it's not exact. My lines for my stripes are about 1 finger width apart. So you're going to take your finger to measure how far these stripes are, okay? So you want your lines to be about 1 finger width apart because you don't want too many of them. So use your finger to kind of measure the best you can. I'm just tracing mine really quick so I can hold it up for you. So again, try to put your lines about 1 finger width apart. Don't make too many, okay? So work on that. And you're also going to make some going down on this part too. There's not going to be too many because this part's short. So make all the lines in your scarf. The part on the bottom too. Okay, so I'll give you guys a little bit longer to do that before we move on. If you just tuned in or you tuned in late, instead of rushing to catch up, I mean, if you can, that's great. But if you feel rushed, I actually would recommend that you wait until this is done and go back and find the saved video and just start from the beginning. That way you don't feel rushed. It's up to you if you want to try to catch up or not. But this video is getting saved in the group and you'll be able to do it anytime you want. You know what you can do too? Some people have done it. You can have watch parties with your friends. You can find my videos, and I don't know, I've never done it before, but I think it's easy. Like, I think it's an option. You can have a watch party, which I guess you invite whoever you want to watch the video with you, and you guys can all do it together. It's really cool. All right, so hopefully everyone's done with their scarf. The next thing we're gonna do is the eyes. So I found something around the house that was round and I traced it. If you have something, that's great, but if you don't, just do it freehand. But you want to make these circles really big. So we have all of this space, okay? We have lots of space. So you want to make 2 big circles, and you want to keep them kind of close together. You don't want to put one all the way over here and then one all the way over here. You see how I only left a little space between my 2 circles? So you want to make them big and kind of close together, okay? Because all we need is a little space to add the beak. The beak is little and it's just a diamond. So I'm going to trace the eyes. If you have something that you can use to trace your circle, you know, I used a cap from like a prescription bottle. That's what I ended up using, or something like that. I'm tracing the eye super crooked. So yeah, don't mind me. Okay. So nice big eyes, and you don't want them too far apart. Keep them pretty close. But you can see how much of the head I took up with the eyes. They're owls. They have big eyes. Now, it's really hard to make circles look exactly the same. So just try your best. So if you're not tracing something, try your best if you're just drawing them. It's really hard to get them perfect. You know, it might even work. Like the bottom of this might have worked. Yeah, see, look. That might have worked too. The bottom of my paint bottle. Just kind of look around the house and find things that are round bottoms. Okay. So once you have your circles in place, we're just going to make a big curve. Our owl is looking up and away. So you want to make sure that these curves go in the same direction in both eyes. Okay. So you want to make a nice big curve right around here. So it looks like the owl is looking up in that direction. And make sure you put it in the same place in the other eye. Somebody lost me, I guess. Somebody wave hi if you can still see and hear me? Somebody wave at me so I know that you can still hear me and see me. Okay. Well, hopefully this is still working. If not, hopefully it still records so you guys can go back and watch it at least. That would be lovely. All right. I just got some thumbs up. So I'm assuming you guys can hear and see me. Perfect. Okay. So let's go back to our owl. Again, big, big eyes. Awesome. Thank you guys for responding. I appreciate it. There's like a huge delay on the live for some reason. Like if I ask people questions, like I don't know why it takes like forever for stuff to go through. It's so weird. Okay. Awesome. So again, big circles, and then we're doing these curves right around here on both eyes, so it makes it look like the owl is looking up and away. Okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to do the beak. So if you look at the beak, it kind of looks like a diamond. So I'm going to teach you an easy way to make the diamond, okay? So stay with me, okay? So what you're going to do for the beak is right in between the eyes, right over the scarf, you're going to start by making a V shape. That's okay, Darcy. So there's a V shape right here. Okay? Right above the scarf. Okay? And then you're going to make an upside down V on top of it to make it look like a diamond. So just like that. So right above the scarf, start by making a V, and then make an upside down V on top of it, and that makes a diamond. Or do they change that to like a rhombus or something? I don't know. I still call it a diamond. All right. So now this next part is optional. What that means is you don't have to do it. But in the picture, I don't know if you guys noticed, there's the little lightning bolt symbol like Harry Potter has on his head. So if you wanted to add that, you can. You don't have to add it. It's a choice. I'm just going to trace it so you can see it better. Okay? So again, this part is an option. You can decide if you want to add the lightning bolt on his head or not. Try not to put it in the middle though. Like if you're gonna do the lightning bolt, don't put it in the center. It should be like off to the side a little bit. It looks a little bit nicer if it's off to the side. Okay. Boys, can one of you go check the front door? I think Kenny might be home. Sorry. Someone's ringing my bell, and obviously I cannot get up and answer it right now. Can you go see if someone's at the front door?
Yeah, someone is.
Yeah. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add a wing. So you're just going to start here on top of the branch, and you're just going to make a curve. So starting on top of the branch, make a curve up for the wing. Let me trace that for you, okay? So again, just watch what I did here. So you already had this line. So all I did was go all the way to the end here. I started on top of the branch and made a little curve up for the wing. Okay. Now, if you notice, if we go to the opposite side now, depending on where you put your scarf hanging down, there's probably not going to be a lot of room. So I'm going to trace mine. And you really can't see a lot of my wing on this side because it's going to be covered up with a scarf that's hanging down. So yours might look a little different than mine depending on where you put the scarf hanging down. So again, you're going to do the same thing though. I'm just going to go to the end here and make a curve going up. You might only be able to do a little curve like me, or if you have this way a little bit more, you might be able to do a full curve like the other side. So kind of make it work for your individual painting. So my scarf is kind of covering part of the wing on this side. Now when it comes to the feathers on the belly, please don't go ahead. You can't just make random feathers. There's a way to do feathers. So wait for me, okay? So you're going to start by making 3 curves. So let me trace that. 1, 2, 3. Okay? So start by making 3 big curves right underneath the scarf. And then stop. Wait for me, okay? So after you make these 3, you're going to make more, but they have to be in between these 2. So find these 2 feathers and go down a little bit, and you're going to make a curve in between these 2 feathers, not underneath. If you notice, none of the curves or the feathers are underneath each other. They're like off to the side and in between. So find these 2 and make another curve in between them underneath. So let me trace that. Okay, so for that second row, it's not directly underneath. It's in between these 2. So right here. And then you're going to do the same thing now in between these 2. You're going to make another one. Again, it's not underneath them. It's in between. It is underneath, but you know what I mean. Not directly underneath. So do another one. So now you should have 2 rows. You should have 3 on the top row and 2 in that middle row, okay? And now you're going to continue to do that, okay? So now you only have 2 here. So you're going to make 1 in between those 2 underneath. Okay? So 1 there. Now if you have room off to the side, make another one, but make sure it's not underneath this one. It's off to the side. Okay? And then keep following that rule. So again, if you have room left, if you don't have room left, you can just stop. Just make your feathers in between every 2 and not directly underneath. So fill in that section. And again, everyone's is going to look a little bit different. And that's okay. So that's what you want the feathers on the belly to look like when you're done. So you don't need to like fill in this whole section. You don't need to go all the way up to the wing and all the way under here. Just kind of keep them centered, mostly in the middle. So we're pretty much done drawing him. He was really easy to draw. So what I want you to do now is I want you to make sure that he's exactly the way you want him, because now I need you to go find a black permanent marker. And it does not have to be a Sharpie, which is a brand name of markers. I don't use Sharpies on canvas. They it sucks up all the ink and they're really expensive. So I just get markers from Amazon. So any permanent black marker, I don't care what kind it is, just make sure it's permanent, because a washable one might smudge. So find a marker, and I need you to trace everything so it looks like mine. So you're not drawing anything new, you're just taking the marker and you're going to trace over all of your pencil, okay? So take a quick peek up here, make sure you didn't forget to draw anything, and then just grab your marker and trace over the entire thing, everything, okay? If you want to write something, do that later. I wouldn't worry about that right now. I want you to just concentrate on tracing this, and we could worry about doing other stuff in the background later. So while the kids are tracing with marker, let's go over some supplies that we need, okay? So if you are using acrylic paint, this is what you're going to need. You're going to need paper towel or a napkin to dry your brush. You're going to need a bin or a cup of water, and you're going to need a small brush and possibly a big brush if you're going to do the background. Some of you might not do a background, so that's up to you. You're going to need a paper plate to put your paint on, and then you're going to need paint, obviously. So again, for Hedwig, you're going to need a lot of white, okay? So white paint, and then you're also going to need black. His beak is black, and like the pupils on his eyes are black, but we're also going to need black to make gray, because we're going to outline him in gray, and the feathers are going to be done in gray, okay? And then you're going to need the colors for your scarf. So again, ask your child which house or scarf they want to do, and I'll go over the colors that you're going to need for that right now, okay? So if you're doing Gryffindor, which is what this is, where Harry Potter is part of, you're going to need red and brown to try to make this color. I'm going to mix those together. Regular yellow is fine, but if you also have a little bit of orange, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be mixing a tiny bit of orange into my yellow to make this, because it's supposed to be more like a gold. If you're doing Ravenclaw, it's blue and bronze. You can just add a little bit of yellow or orange maybe to some brown to make it more bronzy. Slytherin, it's like a dark green and silver. If you don't have silver, just make some gray. And then Hufflepuff is super easy. Hufflepuff is just yellow and black. So those are the colors that you're going to need for everything. And the painting, they did a blue background. You can do whatever color for your background that you want. So I just happen to have a lot of blue paint, so I'm going to make my background blue, but you do not have to do that. You can make your background color any color you want. You can add stuff in your background after this is done. I'm not going to do the entire background with you because we started a little bit late and I don't want this video to go too long. So I'm only going to do the owl with you, and then you guys can go back and you can do your background however you'd like. And then I would love if you guys send me some pictures, so you can post the pictures here on the group and I will see them. You can message me pictures. You can go back to the event and you can post them in the event. And again, if you tuned in late, or you know any friends that were interested and were not able to watch the live, please tell them they must join the group. The link is in the event. I posted it several times, so they just have to hit the link. It'll take them to the group. They hit join, answer like 1 or 2 questions, and I will accept them. And then all the videos, today's and all the other ones I've done, are saved under the photos section. They're mixed in with the pictures, okay? So, oh, and one more thing. If anyone wanted to make a donation, you might have noticed in the title, it says free, and then it says $5 optional. I'm a small business. I'm out of work for at least a month, maybe more, because I do all my business in restaurants. So as long as the restaurants are closed, I can't do business. And then I also do birthday parties on the weekends. I can't do those either because of social distancing, obviously. So if you would like to make a donation, and you don't have to, I posted my PayPal and Venmo information in the event already. It's under the discussion section. And I will also be posting it again once I finish my painting. I will post a picture of my completed painting and my PayPal and Venmo again if you would like to do that, okay? So let me hold this up. So again, everyone should either be tracing this in marker or finishing up. The first color that you're going to put in your plate is white, okay? What I like to tell people is, since we pretty much have to order everything online, you want to like save the paint. You don't want to put too much in your plate and waste it, okay? Because we don't know if we're going to be able to get more of it, or it just might take a long time to get to our house if we order it online. So just put a little bit of paint, and then if you run out, you can always put more in your plate, okay? So put some white, and then if you run out, then add a little bit at a time. That way you don't waste it, okay? Because it's not like we can just run to the store and get more. So we're going to start, when you're done with your tracing in marker, you're going to take those markers and put them very far away so you can't grab them until your painting is completely dry. So give your marker to your adults, tell them to hide it somewhere and not forget where they put it. Okay, I just don't want the marker near you, because what people tend to do is they try to trace over things while the paint is still wet, and you ruin your markers, and you're going to need these, okay? So again, we're starting with a small brush. You're going to make sure, if you're using paint, you want to always dry your brush before you put it in the paint. And be gentle with it. Don't be rough and rub it back and forth on your paper towel, because you'll ruin your bristles. So be gentle when you're drying your brush. So I made sure my brush is nice and clean and dry. And I'm going to start with some white paint. I'm going to bring this a little bit closer because I know it's going to be hard for you guys to see. So we're going to pretty much paint him white, except for like the scarf and stuff, because the scarf isn't going to be white. So I'm going to start by going around his eyes. I know it's hard for you to see. Let me see if I can turn the lighting on. Okay, perfect. There we go. So you kind of can see where I'm putting the paint. It's like a little bit shiny. So I'm going to start painting his face white. And I'm going to go around the eyes and around the beak. And just go pretty quick with this part, because if you miss a little bit of white, no one's going to really be able to tell. So just take that paint, make sure you're spreading it around so you don't have any big globs of white paint. You don't have to be super careful with it because it is white. So I am painting over the lightning bolt because we don't want it to be so dark. We want it to look like a scar. Remember, Harry Potter has a scar, and the scar it's not that dark. So we want to kind of cover it up a little bit with white paint to make it look more like a scar. We don't want it to be so black. So again, I'm just filling in his face with white paint. If you get a little bit on the eyes, it's okay. I'm going around the beak. Once again, if you get a little bit on the beak, it's okay. Like, don't purposely paint over the beak. But if you do get some on there, it doesn't matter because the beak is going to end up being black in this painting. You can make it yellow or orange if you want, but in this particular painting, they made it black. So you can have a choice on that too, what color you want to make the beak. But I'm going to make mine black. Okay. So I painted, you can kind of see where it's wet. I painted the top of his face, around his eyes, and around the beak. I painted it white. Now I'm going to start painting his belly. You're going to paint over the feathers, okay? So I'm going to start painting his belly over the feathers. You're not painting the scarf. Make sure you go around the scarf, okay? So white paint over his belly, over those markers. See how I'm painting over the marker? You're going to paint over his wing. So I'm putting paint right over his little wing. I'm painting this all white. And again, you can go a little bit quicker than you normally would because it is white paint. So if you paint over something by accident, it's really easy to fix by putting another color over it. You don't want to go super fast with other colors, but luckily we can do that with white. Don't forget to do his wing on this side, the one that's on the other side of the scarf. Okay, so make sure you paint that wing, you paint the middle, and then you paint this wing, and I'm making sure I go around. I'm painting around his scarf right above the branch there. Okay, so if you look kind of closely, painted that. I went around the scarf that's hanging down, painted over the feathers on his belly, and I painted this wing, okay? So you can see where I put the white and where I didn't. We didn't put any white here yet, so you can kind of see the difference, okay? So when you're done with the belly, then you could start painting the entire tail. So all of this is going to be white underneath the branch, okay? So again, there's a lot of white that we're going to be painting. But again, I don't want you to put tons of white on your plate and then waste it, because we don't really know when we're going to be able to buy paint again or how long it's going to take to get to our house. So just add more paint on your plate as needed. So I'm just painting the whole tail white. And again, go really quick with this part. See how fast I'm painting? Kind of see where it's all shiny now. Perfect. So all of that is white. Now, What I'm going to do that I'm trying to remember what the picture looks like. I think in the picture, they left this part of his eyes white and then this is black. But I think I'm going to make this part of his eyes yellow. I'm going to do one of the eyes so you can see which way you like it better. Ultimately, at the end, everyone's painting this part black. So this is going to be black right here and here. But you can either leave this part white or paint it yellow. I think I want to paint mine yellow. So you can decide. So after you're done with your white paint, rinse and dry your brush. I'm going to grab some yellow and I'm going to do it first so you can see if you like what it looks like, okay? So I'm just grabbing some plain yellow paint, clean and dried my brush, and I'm going to paint, again, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. I'm going to do one eye so you can see. I'm going to paint this part of the eye yellow. So you can decide if you want to do yellow, and then this is going to be black, okay? Or you can leave this part white, and then this is going to be black. So decide if you want to do yellow or just leave it white. I'm going to do yellow, so I'm going to do both my eyes. So if you're doing yellow, grab your yellow right now and start painting this part. If you're doing white, you can either add more white paint, like we've been doing to the body, or you can just leave it as is, because the canvas is kind of white. So it's your choice. I want to do this yellow, so there's more color. Okay? And then later at the end, we're going to put black on those parts. That's not staying white. Just me, when I think of an owl, I think of like yellow eyes when I think of an owl. So I like the eyes yellow. I think it looks nicer. My opinion. Okay. So now that we've decided what we're doing with the eyes, we're going to start thinking about our scarf. Okay, remember, start thinking about those colors. Make sure you have them handy. So we're just thinking about the scarf right now because we're going to be getting to it shortly. But before we do our scarf, we're going to do our stick. Okay, so we're just going to use brown paint for that. So grab a little bit of brown. But at the same time, start thinking about your scarf so you know what colors you're going to need. I'm grabbing some brown paint, and you don't need a lot. Mine's like dried up, so hold on. I got to take like the dried up paint off the top of my bottle here. It's all clogged. Let's try that again. There we go. All right, so I'm cleaning my brush, drying it off. A little bit of brown paint in my plate. And we're going to paint the stick. See? I'm just going to lean this forward a little bit. We're painting the stick. Okay. Almost done. And then I'm going to kind of make my stick kind of wrap around the end a little bit, just because it looks a little bit nicer. That way there's no white showing. So I kind of just started painting a little bit on the side. So when you look at it from the front, it looks better. So I'm going to do that to the other side too. I'm just going to go back and make it look like my stick is coming from the side. See? That way when you turn it around, it looks a lot nicer. Okay. So before we start doing our scarf, we're gonna do some gray feathers, and we're gonna outline some things in gray. So if you remember, the two colors that make gray are white and black. So everyone needs white and black, and you want to make a medium to light gray. Okay, so what that means is you don't want to put too much black paint into your white paint. Just a little bit of black, because you don't want your gray to be too dark. So I'm going to make mine, and I'm going to show you the shade of gray that you want, okay? So I'm just cleaning and drying my brush. Make sure you always dry it first, okay? You don't want to water down your paint. I'm putting a little bit of black into my white paint. I'm going to mix it up, and then I'm going to show you what shade of gray that you want, okay? So if you look closely, so that's the shade of gray that you're looking for. Not too much darker than that, okay? I'd rather have it a little bit lighter than too dark. Yes, we are going to add feet, but we're not going to do that right now because the branch is wet, okay? So when our branch is dry, we're going to add feet, okay? So no feet yet. So we're just making gray. Everyone saw the shade of gray that I wanted you to do. So the first thing we're going to do with the gray is we're going to trace around the outside of his eyes. So gray paint, very carefully trace around his eyes. So I'm just tracing around the outside of his eye. See? And do the same thing to his other eye. So black and white, light gray paint, and we're tracing around the outside of both his eyes. Perfect. See? So make some gray and trace around the outside of both of his eyes. So after you do the eyes, we're going to trace the top of his head. We're not going to do, see where the scarf is? Don't don't put gray where the scarf is, okay? We're going to start above the scarf, go around the top of his head, and end above the scarf again. So don't trace his whole body where the scarf is, okay? So start above the scarf only for now. See, I started on top of the scarf. I'm not tracing on the side of the scarf. I'm doing the top of the head. Perfect. And then I'm stopping above the scarf again. So we started by tracing around both eyes. And then we started right above the scarf, all the way around, ended on top of the scarf again, okay? Now we're going to trace this little section that's below the scarf and stop when we get to the branch. So again, starting under the scarf, stop when you get to the top of your branch, just like that. Then you're going to do the same thing on this side. Do both sides. Start under your scarf and stop when you get to the top of your branch. So just like that and like that. Back up a little bit. So again, we started by tracing both eyes with gray. Then we did the top of the head above the scarf. This little section in between below the scarf on both sides. Now we're going to trace around the entire tail. So starting underneath your branch, You're going to trace the entire tail. Okay? Start tracing your tail right over the marker. Just like that. Okay, good. So I traced my entire tail with gray paint. Okay. We're going to continue with gray, so if you need to make more gray, you can. There's a few more things we're doing with gray paint. We're going to trace his wings. So his wings, one's here. So we're going to outline the wing. So outline his wing. You should be able to see the marker through your white paint. And then remember on this one, we can only see the wing a little bit. So go really slow because you're so close to the scarf on this one. So go really slow and outline that little section of wing if you have just a little bit like me. You might have a full wing, but I only have a small section. So I'm outlining both wings there and whatever you have on this side. And then we're going to outline the little feathers on the belly. You can see them through the paint. So we're going to take some gray. And we're just going to trace over those little feathers on his belly using the gray paint. So you're just tracing over them. See? Just tracing over them with gray paint. Not adding any new ones. I mean, I guess you could if you wanted to, but we don't want too many. So we traced over the feathers on the belly. And we're still not done with gray. But I don't want to go too fast, so I'm going to repeat all that again before we do the next one. So again, make some gray paint. Start by tracing around both eyes. Trace the top of the head above the scarf. If you notice, there's no gray paint on the sides of the scarf, okay? And then you're going to trace the little sections on both sides underneath the scarf. Trace the entire tail. Okay. And then we went back and we traced the wing on this side and whatever part of the wing you have on the other side. And then we traced all the little feathers on his belly. So we did all of that using gray paint, okay? Now we're going to add some feathers on his tail, but they're not going to look like these feathers. They're just going to be like lines, okay? So using a little bit of gray, the same gray that you've been using, you just want to add some lines starting like there, okay? And you're going to kind of do some kind of everywhere. There you go. So you're going to make some gray lines like that inside the tail, okay? So it looks like they're feathers almost. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time to do that. So make some long lines in the middle and then make some shorter lines inside of these sections. You don't want to make too many though, because remember he is white, so we don't want to add too much gray. You want to leave a lot of white showing through, okay? Then we're also going to do something similar inside of his wings, but remember what I just said? You don't want to put too much gray because then there won't be any white showing. So you're just going to do like a couple of lines like that inside of his wing. So don't do too many inside of the wings, okay? Just do like 2 or 3 inside the wing. Don't do too many. I'm just going to make these a little bit darker. All right. Okay. You want to make sure there's still a lot of white showing through. Don't do too many gray lines. You want him to still look white. And then this next part, again, is optional. The part that I'm going to do next, you can just look at it, see how it looks. If you don't like it, you don't have to do it. They added like some feathers coming out from in between the eyes. So they just added some gray lines that kind of come up. So they start like in between the eyes and they come up, and some of them kind of curve over the eyes. So you can do that if you want. You notice I'm not using a lot of paint and I'm pressing very lightly. So my gray is kind of like smudging on purpose. So again, this part, if you don't like it, you don't have to do it. So I just started right in between the eyes, right around here. I went up a little bit, then I kind of curved a couple of them over the eyes. So you decide if you want to do that or not. Okay, so I'm going to have you guys look at that. While you're looking at it, again, now is the time to decide your scarf colors, because we are going to start doing the scarf in like 30 seconds, okay? I'm going to do my scarf for Gryffindor, so I'm going to make a color that looks like this. If you're doing Gryffindor, follow me. If not, I'm going to repeat the colors for the other ones one more time, okay? So Ravenclaw, you need blue and bronze. To make bronze, you can just add a little bit of yellow or orange to some brown. For Slytherin, you need dark green and silver. You can actually just use the light gray that we've been using if you want. For Hufflepuff, just regular yellow and some black. I'm going to do Gryffindor, and what I'm going to do as I do a color for Gryffindor, I'm going to tell you what color you should be using again for the other ones, okay? So for Gryffindor, I'm going to start with gold. So if you look closely, it is yellow, but it's a much brighter yellow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this down for a second, and then I'll hold it back up if you're not done with the feathers, okay? I promise. I already have some yellow on my plate from the eyes. So if you're doing Gryffindor, you need to put a little bit of yellow and a tiny bit of orange if you have it. If not, just use regular yellow. And I'm going to take my clean, dry brush. Make sure it's nice. It's not clean enough. Hold on, I got to clean it some more. And I'm going to add a little bit of orange to my yellow to make it more golden. Not too much though. So I'm going to hold up my plate. If you can see, it matches pretty good. So this was regular yellow, and then I added a teeny bit of orange to it. So it kind of looks like this on my scarf, okay? So if you're doing Gryffindor, again, tiny bit of orange, mix it with some yellow to make this color. If you're doing Ravenclaw right now, you want to start with probably that bronze color. So that would be, again, brown with a little bit of orange or gold. Mix that together right now. If you're doing Slytherin, you need either silver or like a light gray. So get that ready. And if you're doing Hufflepuff, you just need regular yellow. So those are the colors you're going to start with for all the houses, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to start on one side, and you're going to paint one stripe, whatever color I just told you to start with, okay? Then you're going to do every other, okay? So you need to skip one. So leave one white and do the next one. Then you're going to leave the next one white and do the next one. So you're going to do every other stripe with this first color. So again, if you're doing Gryffindor, you're using this color, which I created by adding a teeny bit of orange to yellow. If you're doing Ravenclaw, I want you to start with bronze. which is brown with maybe a little bit of yellow or orange mixed into it. Slytherin, you're starting with either silver or light gray. And Hufflepuff, you're starting with plain old yellow, which looks more like the yellow on the eyes. Do you guys see the difference? How it's a little bit different shade of yellow? So everyone with whatever color I told you to start should be painting every other stripe on your scarf. Okay? So that looks like that. And then you're going to do the same thing on the ones that are hanging, okay? So I'm going to skip one. So same thing on the ones that are hanging, every other if you can. Perfect. So that's what it should look like when you're done with your first color. You might have a different color than me, but it's every other stripe. So all the ones in between should still be white. Okay. So everyone should have brown in their plate already from the branch. If you have some left over, just use that. If you're doing Gryffindor, you're going to need to add a little bit more brown if you don't have anything left. And again, if you're doing Gryffindor, you need a little bit of brown, and you're also going to need a little bit of red for this next color. So Gryffindors, you need some brown and a little red. So get that in your plate. Ravenclaw, you're going to need blue. Slytherin, you need dark green. And Hufflepuff, you're going to need black for your second colors, okay? So let me put this down real quick so I can mix my next color for my scarf. I'm going to try to make something like this. It's not going to be perfect. So brown and red. And again, this is only if you're doing Gryffindor. So I think that's pretty close. So I mixed a little bit of brown and a little bit of red off to the side, and I got this color right here. Okay? Now I'm going to go back once I'm done with my first color, and I'm going to add that second color. I'm going to repeat that again. If you're doing Gryffindor, your second color is going to be mixing a little bit of brown and red together to make this color. Okay? Ravenclaw, you're doing bronze, which is brown with a little bit of orange or yellow in there if you want. Slytherin, your second color is either silver or green. We already did that one, so green. And then Hufflepuff, your second color is black. Okay? So I'm going to start doing this. And I apologize if mine isn't super neat, but if you do notice, I'm painting upside down. I'm assuming you're not painting upside down, so yours should be nice and neat. So that's pretty close, huh? I think we got close by mixing those colors together. Okay. Perfect. So we're just painting all the white stripes that are left in our second color, according to the house that we chose. Does anyone need me to repeat what colors you need for a specific house? If you're not sure, just name the house and I'll tell you what colors you need. I had some Harry Potter music on, but I guess it's done. So it's like super quiet in here now. The neighbors are using like an electric saw outside. It's all I can hear. Okay. So, wow, that looks really cool. I like how that came out. I like that a lot, actually. Perfect. So cute, huh? So we're almost done. The only thing we have left to do is paint his beak and this part of the eyes, okay? So in the picture, they painted his beak black. I'm going to do it black. You can do it orange or yellow, okay? So I recommend, if you did Gryffindor like I did, there's already a lot of yellow going on, okay? So I'm going to recommend you do the beak black like me. But if you did a different house and you don't have yellow in your scarf, then I guess yellow or orange would look fine for the beak. But we've already got a lot of yellow going on here, so I'm going to keep my beak black, okay? So when I'm done doing my scarf, I'm going to grab some black paint. Again, make sure that your brush is nice and dry. We don't want to water down our black paint. I'm going to start by painting the top of the eye. So everyone is doing the top of the eye black. This is for everyone. So paint this. And again, try not to cover that gray. Go nice and slow when you're doing this part. You don't want to cover that gray. Okay, so you're doing the top of your eyes just like that. This is for everyone. You're doing that black. And then I'm also going to be doing my beak. So the beak is really small, so you want to just take a little bit of black paint or whatever color you decided on. And I'm going to trace my beak first, just so I don't lose the shape, okay? So with whatever color you choose for the beak, very carefully trace over that marker to make sure that we get that shape back. So I'm tracing first. Then I'm going back with a tiny bit of paint, because you don't want too much, and just filling it in. Perfect. There we go. How cute is that? See, I like the black because there's already a lot of yellow going on. And I think Hedwig has a black beak anyway. I'm not really sure. See. Yes, so Monica, so if you tuned in late, what you're going to do is, I'm assuming that you're already in this group. If you're able to watch this video, you must be in the group. So if you go back later and you look under the cover photo in the group, it'll say photos. You're going to go into the photos when we're done, and this video will be saved in there, and it's like kind of mixed in with all the pictures, and all the other videos of all the other paintings are in that photo section as well, okay? Perfect. So you can add feet. I think when I remember the picture, they did his feet white. I'm going to do his feet black. So you have two choices. Or you could do them orange too. So you have three choices actually. You could do his feet black, white, or orange. So decide what color you want to do. I'm going to do black for his feet. You can pick. So I'm going to do his feet kind of going over the branch. Okay. So I'm going to kind of put one, I'm going to do like 3 toes. So one here, there, and there. I'm doing this upside down, so once again, forgive me. And then I'll do another foot, maybe there. I don't know. So he has 3 toes. I made them in black. You can make them in black, white like the picture, or you can make them orange. And I'm not drawing them because it's just 3 little lines. I'm sure you guys can do that without drawing it first. It looks like chicken feet. Okay. So let's go over everything we did one last time before we say goodbye. So we painted them all white first. And then I went and I painted this part yellow. You could have left it white if you wanted to. That was a choice. Okay. And then we made some light gray paint. We traced around his entire body. We traced around the feathers on his belly. We added some streaks to his wings. and in his tail to make it look like feathers. And then this part was an option to add some lines in between his eyes and going over a little bit. And then we did his scarf. We decided what house we wanted to do. We picked the colors and we painted his scarf. Then we went and we painted his eyes black on the top. We picked a color for the beak and we painted his beak. We picked a color for the feet and we painted his feet. And I'm going to have you do one more thing before I let you guys go, and you can do your background. So grab a tiny bit of white. If you don't already have some clean white in your plate, grab a teeny bit of white. Make sure that your brush is dry because you don't want it to be dripping. We are not using the bristles for this last part, okay? So the bristles that we've been using, we are not using them. We're using the bottom of our brush, okay? So I'm going to dip the bottom of my brush into some clean white paint, and then I'm going to add a dot right there. I'm going to dip it again, and I'm going to add another dot right there. You see how cute that looks when you add a little dot? And again, I used the back of my brush and I dipped it in the white paint. I did not use my bristles. See how they're clean? Okay. So for your background, the one in the picture, they just painted the whole background regular blue. You can do whatever you want for your background, okay? You can leave it white and be done with it, and you can write something on the top, like I wrote Gryffindor. I think I might go back and paint mine blue. I haven't decided yet, but I want you guys to do whatever you want with your background. I want you to take a picture and send it to me and show me. I can't wait to see these. Okay, does anyone have any questions before I go? Let me hold this up again so you can see all the details. So I'll wait a couple of minutes if anyone has any questions. Well, you're welcome, guys. Thank you so much. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to message me anytime because I have nothing better to do. I love doing these with you guys. It's so much fun. Bye. Thank you.